It is time for this week's Common Ground segment. Joining us tonight, Maryland Democratic Senator Ben Cardin and Indiana Republican Senator Todd Young. Thank you both for being here. Wanted to start with obviously the news of the day and the concern about the banks, the Silicon Valley Bank, the Signature Bank, and where this goes from here. Senator Cardin, first to you. What do you say to people who look at this and say, maybe the government is backing up all of these deposits and it's a little risky to do it that way? How do you see that?
Well, Brett, first of all, it's good to be with you, and it's good to be with Senator Young. I think our major concern is to make sure that taxpayers are protected, and our understanding is that this will be at no taxpayer cost. Any cost will be borne by the banking community. It gives confidence for the depositors. It protects the companies to make sure that they can make payroll, so it protects workers and the ability to make those payrolls. So we'll be watching it closely. Ultimately, if the bank cannot make it, it's going to have to be sold, and we're going to be watching it carefully to make sure there's no taxpayer exposure. Yeah,
Senator Young, I guess there's just this feeling like, maybe they made some bad investments. Maybe they did some crazy things, and now the government's saying, okay, we're going to take care of everybody, but it doesn't really prevent these banks or other banks from doing crazy investments.
No, Brett, I agree with you, and I think, as Ben indicated, we're going to follow this closely. I think there's still a lot of questions to be asked and answered, especially as pertains to, what was the risk here? Was there a systemic risk to infect the rest of the banking sector, which is roughly $24–25 trillion in assets? We're going to be careful here on the Hill in a bipartisan fashion and get to the bottom of this. And if there's some back-end authorities we need to establish or people we need to hold accountable, we'll do that.
Yeah, I'm going to play this soundbite, then we'll move on. This is Kevin O'Leary earlier today.
That was not the Fed's fault. That was not regulatory issues. It was just plain, straight, idiot management underneath an incompetent board. I think the unintended consequences of creating a nationalized, no-risk banking system is starting to sink in the last 24 hours, and this debate is going to rage and undoubtedly become a political issue.
Only one board member, apparently, of that Silicon Valley Bank board had experience in banking. Now we're hearing there's investigations by the DOJ, by the Fed and others. Last word here. Where do you think this goes, Senator Cardin?
Well, I think first we're going to certainly not be protecting the investors in the banks. That's their risk. And quite frankly, I think we need to look forward as to what type of changes we need to make sure that those who invest in banks, it's their risk. They have to make the right judgments, and the taxpayers aren't going to bail them out.
And Senator Young?
Any actions we take should make sure that we still have something. We have a certain threshold beyond which we don't insure deposits. Right now, we have uninsured depositors up to $250,000. That's long been the threshold. Above and beyond that, folks know when they put their money into an institution that it's not insured. So we don't want that to change or to be understood as changing by any policies we adopt or failure to adopt policies moving forward. So I think both of us are trying to reconcile these difficult issues, and we'll work in a bipartisan fashion to try and accomplish that.
Well, that's one of the reasons we do this, is to talk about the bipartisan efforts up there on the Hill. You all work on finance, small business. You're working on Neighborhood Homes Investment Act to address housing shortages in distressed metro and non-metro areas, sell only to members of affected communities. Tell me about this, Senator Cardin.
Well, this is really to strengthen neighborhoods. What it does is it covers the appraisal gap. There's to be a tax credit between the difference in cost in rehabbing or purchasing a home in a community and the sales price. That allows us to stabilize communities, allows individuals to be homeowners, which does deal also with the wealth gap in America. It's really a win-win situation and helps us with the housing stock for affordable housing in America.
Senator Young, I mean, these are not things that get all the headlines. Either is the teaming up on the federal excise tax repeal for heavy trucks and trailers. You guys are working on that too, but these are bipartisan things that are happening.
That's right. I mean, I use this one as an example. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, you drive through areas, maybe you live in an area where there is a whole lot of blight that tears down property values, it undermines morale in the community, and it leads to a lack of private sector investment in the local area. We've come up with a way to unlock that private investment in local houses to help revitalize areas and make sure that we shift any risk from taxpayers to private investors so that they're actually occupied by an owner before the taxpayers are on the hook at all. So we think this is going to be a viable solution and get a whole lot of bipartisan support moving forward.
Well, you guys do work bipartisan on a number of different things, but Senator Cardin, 39 years ago this month, the Colts left Baltimore for Indianapolis, and you're still okay with that?
I'll never be okay with that, but it doesn't affect our relationship here. We have the Ravens now. They're doing quite well, so we're satisfied with our team. But the way that was
wait till we start winning Super Bowls again, all right?
I can see it. It's already starting. Okay, well, I wanted to leave it there. Thank you both for being on Common Ground.
Thank you.